Welcome back to another episode of Sea Devil Sessions University Transfer Edition. I am your host, Lucinda McNamara, Dean of University Transfer and Partnerships. And today, on season 2, by the way, I can't believe we're back, episode 1, we have VP Brandon Guthrie in the house. Brandon.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
So great. I love being here.
He's tied to his chair.
I'm tied to my chair. I got roped into this now.
Right. I will say the velvet voice, Kathy Lee, was unable to be here today. So I did kind of grab Brandon on the street and be like, hey, you're hosting this with me. But, you know, season 2, who would have thought? We're like a bad penny. We just keep turning up around here.
So today's faculty spotlight guest is Miss Donna Yuguccione. Donna teaches anatomy and physiology in the science department here at Cape Fear. She's also the faculty advisor for CSTEP, which is our direct admit program with Chapel Hill. She has worked for the college for 14 years?
14 years.
14 years. Yeah.
Impressive. She's still here.
Still working her magic.
Right. Couple other things, Brandon. There are a lot of students I've seen walking around campus. How do you feel about that?
Yes, I love it. There's more energy this semester, I think, than I've seen since the pandemic, which is what we've been working to get back toward. And so it's really, really great.
I think so too. I mean, Monday through Friday, man, they're just here. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
They seem stoked, happy. I'm looking at Mitchell. He's like, yeah, I'm really stoked. I'm really happy.
Yeah,
was it really?
That's the downside, right? You can't find anywhere to park your...
No, but it is. It's like a rejuvenation.
Mm-hmm. It is.
I feel like fall's like that anyway.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to go on to Donna. Donna Yuguccione.
Oh, very good.
Was
Great.
that good?
Yes.
Donna,
yes,
you
yay.
are here in the studio. Thank you.
Yes.
People
thank
come
you.
in and then they realize how illustrious it is.
Yeah.
It's quite nice. I was
Nice
very
space.
impressed. Very impressed. And the lights.
Yes, the lights make all the difference.
Light show.
So appreciate you coming in to be our faculty spotlight this week. And the first question is going to be, what brought you to the Wilmington area? Because as anyone can hear, you do not sound like a Wilmingtonian.
I'm not. But off and on, I've lived here now for about 38 years.
Oh.
So I grew up Cape Cod, Massachusetts, and we're looking for schools for marine biology. Lived by the ocean, love the ocean. I looked at schools from Maine to Florida, came down here to Wilmington, fell in love with UNCW. So I came here for my undergrad. Loved marine biology, but had an opportunity to kind of switch into physiology and ended up going human physiology. So I ended up doing my graduate work on that and then was able to go up to Duke Medical Center and Divers Alert Network, where I worked for about 15 years studying scuba divers, which was an amazing career. I got to travel around the world, meet amazing people, do amazing research. I had kind of my goals, my list of goals, and I was able to achieve all of those. And when I did, I knew I wanted to get back to the beach. I'm an ocean girl living from the Cape, and I knew I just needed to be back at the ocean. So I had an opportunity to come back down here, became an adjunct for 1 semester at Cape Fear. And then the next year, they offered me a full-time position, and that was in 2011. And
So
I've been here ever
14
since.
years.
Yeah, and I'm hoping to finish up my career here at Cape Fear.
How many years do you have left?
10?
That's not bad at all.
I see the light. I see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's small, but it's there. So moving right ahead.
And the scuba diving, where did that come from?
So for marine biology here at UNCW, diving offshore here, fell in love with it. It's my favorite diving in the world, actually. And in undergrad, I took neurophysiology, and my instructor had projects looking at blue crab physiology. He literally studied the flick response of the antennae of the blue crab. And he was like, I have a graduate program you can do. And I thought, no, that sounds terrible. I collected the blue crabs. That was all for me. But it panned into something with NOAA, with the National Undersea Research Center. That was at UNCW, where they had some money to do a physiology study on scuba divers. That were the research divers going offshore, supporting scientists at UNCW. So I was able to parlay that into a graduate program. I worked with people up at Duke. I worked with a professor out of Texas, out of Baylor, and kind of learned some, it's called Doppler. I studied listening to bubbles in the heart. And my study was on safety stops. And so it was kind of a big stepping stone for me to then go up to DAN, which is a research safety insurance organization for recreational scuba divers. And so I was able to go up and work in the research department. I also worked at Duke, the Department of Anesthesiology. I worked at the hyperbaric chamber, studying scuba divers and astronauts and pilots. And so it was a really great career. I really had some great experiences of traveling around, studying scuba divers in beautiful locations where scuba divers go. Right. And then I was able to work at the chamber and study. We did flying after diving. I worked with NASA, astronauts.
Wow.
And yeah.
I mean, you don't even think of all those different little I guess, niches off
Yeah.
of scuba diving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah,
Right.
because so it was underwater, hypobaric, and then also hyperbaric. So we did both those. So hyperbaric was underwater, and then hypobaric was our altitude work that we did. So
right,
yeah,
cool.
That's fascinating. So what really was the initial spark for you to enter into the sciences and ultimately in the field that you were just explaining?
So growing up Cape Cod, I was surrounded by the ocean, surrounded by marine life, and just always loved it. I was always a curious child. My favorite word was why. It used to drive my mother crazy. She'd just be like, "Oh, Donna, here's an encyclopedia."
said so.
Oh yeah, like she bought me my junior encyclopedia thing and just said, "Here, have fun, find all the answers." So I just always wanted to know things, and so science was a natural kind of thing, just to be able to research. And then obviously marine biology. From probably the age of 8, I knew I wanted to work with the ocean. Like I said, I looked at schools from Maine to Florida. My first school choice was College of the Atlantic in Bar Harbor, Maine. It would have been beautiful other than the winters.
Cold.
Like snowed in on an island. I went, no. And then just came down to Wilmington, and I loved the program at UNCW. It was a small enough program and just really a great location. So I was able to come down and study the animals, and again, then switch into human physiology, which was just a fascinating career change to switch over to that. And it just took me so many places.
Yeah.
So
And what prompted that? Just the door opened? Or
a door
you were there?
opened. So like
Yeah.
I said, I was doing neurophysiology and being offered crab antennae. And then I was a research diver with NERC. So I was out on the boat, and someone was like, we've got this money. We've got these Doppler machines over here, and we're not really using them. We got some funding, and someone wants to do something with it. And it was tough doing it, because I was probably one of the first people at UNCW that went to the IRB, did research on humans wanting to scuba dive. I wasn't actually taking them diving. The diving was a research diving. They were already doing that. I was just piggybacking on that and doing the Doppler when they came up from their dives to listen for bubbles. But it took us several times going in front of the IRB. And when my professor, Dr. Roy, would be like, "I still got the blue crabs, got the antennae, flick response research, and I'm like, "No, I'll keep trudging along, and I'll get this done." So.
How did you go from research to teaching?
I taught diving for a long time. So I taught scuba diving. I loved the physiology part of it. That was my favorite part of the class. And then when I was at Dan and Duke, I taught a lot up there. I taught like oxygen therapy, oxygen provider stuff for scuba divers. And I just really enjoyed being in front of people teaching, watching people learn. Then I started teaching first aid, CPR. I was in grad school, I taught A&P as the labs for that. And I enjoyed it. And so I was coming to a point in my career. A lot of my research was soft money, so it was grants. And that's a lot. It's hard every year to know where your funding's going to come from and what kind of money you're going to make. And I was getting to an age where I wanted to be stable and more settled, because I traveled a lot. It was wonderful. I absolutely loved my job. I traveled about 6 months out of the year, so I didn't have a really home base. And I was just ready for that. And so I had an opportunity to come back to Wilmington without having to really have a job yet due to some circumstances. And by doing that, I came back and I kind of could wait. I was going to go work at PPD, but it was more research. So I'm like, I want to see what else is out there. And I just applied for a position here. And it was when Joyce Smoots, when she was becoming chair, so she needed someone to take over her A&P classes. And I'm like, that sounds fabulous. And so I started in January. I found out I got the job 2 weeks beforehand. I spent Christmas break with my mom relearning A&P. I was teaching 168 and 169, so A&P 1 and 2. So I was starting at the beginning of the book, in the middle of the book, and teaching night classes mainly. And I remember my students would be like, "So what are we doing next week?" And I looked at them, I'm like, "I don't know what we're doing next hour." I'm like staying one page ahead of you people at this point.
Right.
So, respiratory therapy was my main, probably one, because that's what hyperbaric medicine was kind of like, and diving. I was like, oh, people, I have to relearn all the bones and muscles and all this. And
So what have you noticed about the difference in the students from when you started to today?
oh, they are so much more busy. Their lives are so much more full with school and work and families. When I started, I taught a lot of night classes, and a lot of my students were non-traditionals. So they worked all day, many in the medical field. And then they'd be coming to night classes to hope to get into the nursing program. And those are the only ones who really worked a full-time job. And that, God love all of them, because that was rough on them. I could see it in their faces by 8 o'clock at night. And a 6 to 9 o'clock class, they were done. But now I notice that even my day classes and my younger students, even my high school students, everyone's working. Like, everyone has to have so much more going on. We live in a beautiful place, but it's not cheap to live here in Wilmington. And
Correct.
I think everyone just has to have so much more on their plate. So one thing I love about our school is the offerings we give our students. 16 week, the mini 8 weeks, the 12 weeks, face-to-face, hybrid, online. We just have something to fit them because we're really having to fit into such a busy life.
Yeah.
Such a busy life now.
We were just discussing the winter session this morning. 4 week.
Yeah.
4 weeks.
Yeah.
Over holidays.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, but they have to fit it in, right? Because
Yeah.
I just feel like all my students are just like, oh, I got to go to work. I got to pick up my kids at school. It never used to be that way when I first started. It was just a small group that were the working and school, but now it seems like everyone is. So.
Yeah.
So Donna, you have reached the point where we are going to hit the rapid fire questionnaire. How do you feel about it?
Feeling pretty good. Feeling good. Feeling strong.
You look confident. The first question is, what is your most favorite thing about your job?
I love that I have to keep learning to teach my students. So especially in anatomy and physiology, things are always changing in the medical world. I want to keep up on that to share with my students to make it interesting. I love that. I started teaching nutrition a couple of years ago because I was interested in my own health. And so I get to learn about that. And, here I've had the opportunities through school to take courses and webinars and learn on my own, which is great. I feel like it makes me a better instructor. And then I love watching my students learn. I love when they learn something cool about the human body because it's fascinating. It's the coolest thing in the world. And they come in there scared and intimidated and freaked out about taking anatomy and physiology. It's a hard class. Everyone knows it. They hear the horror stories. But when they start to really see how the body works and they start to appreciate it, it's just great. And then they get a concept. I love that. I just absolutely love when it clicks. My great students are wonderful, the ones who get it immediately. I love them. They're great. I love utilizing them to peer teach the other students, like a little peer tutoring. But I more like my students who struggle a little bit because I just see the frustration. I see the struggle. And they're not getting it. And then all of a sudden it clicks. Like the way I explained it or they explained it by reading the book or another student explained it to them. And to have it click, it's just that's a great feeling.
Awesome.
It is. It's magic.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh.
Well, I hesitate to ask this, but what is your least favorite thing about your job?
Oh, can't be anything wrong with my job. Compliance training. Can I say okay?
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Knocked it out last week.
Oh, smart.
Yay.
You're ahead of
I'm
me.
jealous.
Yeah.
One of the things, it would be like the repetition sometimes of lecturing. I came into this year looking at my notes going, I can't lecture the same slides. I've been doing it now 14 years. It's like, oh. And it's the same material for the most part. I mean, science does change, obviously, but it's still a lot of the same material. So that's another thing about learning. I can learn new ways to teach. This semester, I've tried to go more active learning, and I went to a conference last year. I learned a lot there from other A&P instructors, and one of them was using whiteboards. And then Alvin Coleman, our geology, was talking about something. He did some concept mapping with his class. So I've bought some whiteboards this semester, and we're doing a lot more active learning in my classes. I'm already seeing they're all interacting more because kind of post-COVID, it was hard to come back to them actually talking and working together, which I think is so important in the sciences. So they're talking together, and then I'm able to kind of walk around, and they're figuring out what they don't know. So a lot of times when you're up there lecturing, they're all going,
Right.
And then, I go to test them, and they're like, oh, no, I didn't know any of that. So now they're having to say it and talk about it and do it. And they're like, oh, wait, I don't understand this. And then I'm able to kind of talk through that. So I'm trying to change up some of the repetitive lecturing that I did that made me bored. So I'm sure my students were bored,
Right, yeah.
It's like, here I go again. Let's talk about bones.
Yeah.
But now we're changing it up a little bit. So
I love that.
we're going to give it a try.
Engagement's so
We're going to see how it
important.
goes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Fantastic.
So what sound or noise do you love?
I know it's going to be shocking that it has to do with the ocean.
I was just going to say, it has to do with ocean waves.
Ocean waves. There's nothing better than being at the beach, listening to waves come across the rocks.
If you travel and you're going inland, do you have a little sound machine where you're playing the ocean so you can go
I sometimes
to sleep?
do.
Yeah.
I have a little, I have my noise machine. It's always set to ocean.
So is mine.
I do love the mountains though. I do love, but a babbling brook also will work for me when I'm in the mountains. So anything,
That
I mean, a fountain.
So the proper follow-up, what noise do you hate?
You're getting the negative questions.
Thanks, Brandon. My alarm clock.
Good answer.
I will say though, I'm pretty regimented now. I wake up usually about 5 minutes before my alarm goes off.
So your alarm is not an ocean wave?
It's not. No, 'cause
Okay,
I would sleep right through that. I'd be
Slow
like,
you
I'm
back
on a
asleep.
boat. I'm on vacation. I don't have to go do anything. Ugh.
What one piece of advice do you have for college students?
Start early on your assignments, on your studying. Don't wait till the end, don't cram. That's what causes the stress. I'd also tell them to be curious, to get excited about whatever subject they're learning. just to get excited about it. So that might motivate them a little more to want to be in that class, right? To do that. And then the last one is just ask questions, ask for help.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for. And I tell my students all the time, I'm like, I don't know what you don't know unless you tell me what you don't know. Especially with A&P, there's so much material that we have to get through. And I know there's areas they need a little bit more, but I need them to tell me that. So
why do you think
questions.
they're scared to? I feel like back when I first started teaching and you would have office hours, you would have tons of students coming to your office hours. And today it's like crickets. No one comes.
Yeah.
They're like, aren't I warm? Aren't I approachable?
And I've noticed that. I think in a big classroom setting, they don't want to speak up.
Right.
And I tell them that. I think they think their questions are stupid. They're the only one who has that question.
Yeah.
And I've tried to alleviate that. It still doesn't really work.
Yeah.
There's one or two who might speak up. But I will say this new kind of teaching that I'm doing, this more like they sit at their lab tables and they all kind of work together. I'll walk over and then they'll ask the questions. I also offer open labs and they'll come in like one-on-one and they'll ask the questions. But I think in that big setting, they just feel intimidated. They feel like they're the only one who doesn't get it.
Yeah.
And I try to tell them, like, no one gets it. It's brand new. You're not supposed to know it yet.
Right.
That's why you're here.
Whenever I'm confused, I'm always so thankful that somebody asked the question. I'm like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
for doing that.
Yeah. It's like, I didn't know either.
What are 2 university transfer major options for somebody interested in biology, anatomy, and physiology?
So obviously anatomy and physiology leads into any of the medical fields. Nursing is our big one, obviously, but sonography, surg tech, we have all those other opportunities. They can even go further, med school, PA, right? Physician's assistant. And then on the nutrition side, there's so much they can do with that too. They could go into personal training, which I know is a big one for the health fitness program, but also physical therapy, occupational therapy, registered dietitian, all are great career paths for anyone kind of going through my science classes for sure.
So what profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Professional organizer.
Are you going to come to my office after this?
Yes,
I've
please.
got to come to someone's house or someone's office because I've been back in town for a month and a half or so and I've like reorganized my house 3 times already.
Oh my gosh.
I just did this weekend. I love organization. I love boxes. I love bins. I love all that stuff. So
Is it organized inside the box and bin?
yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
very, yeah. And it gets worse the older I get. Yeah. I love it. I love organizing stuff. Like when I put my whiteboards together, I had Ellen get me pouches for the markers and the
Yes.
erasers. It's all very organized, color-coded, all
Oh, I
that
love
stuff.
this.
That's a science thing, too.
Yeah.
A lot of us are that
Yeah.
way.
So I get the negative flip side again.
Of course,
What
Brandon.
profession would you not like to attempt?
Anything where I'm responsible or taking care of anyone else's money. I've done math, obviously. I can do statistics. I can balance my checkbook and keep a budget, but anything greater than that in the math world and finance and that, I want absolutely nothing to do with. So
Yeah, the pressure.
a lot of pressure, and I'm trying to reduce stress in my life as I get older.
What is your favorite film?
So that's a toss-up. I have 2. So every year at Christmas time, it's a family tradition. We watch Dr. Zhivago.
Really?
So yes,
It's
yes.
so long.
It's so long. That's why it's a once a year.
5
And it takes a few days usually to do it. But again, it's families together. You know,
Which is funny. So people should watch the trailer for that film because the trailer for the film, where normal trailers coming in from like a minute 30 to 2 minutes, the Dr. Zhivago trailer is like 5 minutes.
yeah, it's warning you. It's a little warning.
Dr. Zhivago. They
Yeah.
keep saying it over
Yeah.
and over.
You're going to be here for a while.
Right.
But for just if I need to throw something on, if I need to laugh out loud, silly movie, I love Sordid Lives.
Sorted Lives.
Sordid Lives.
When did that come out?
Oh, it's been out forever. It's like a southern dark humorous.
I've not heard of this.
It's a great film. It's got some great people in it.
Give me a couple people.
Olivia Newton-John sings in it. Leslie Jordan, Bonnie Badilla. I can't remember exactly how
So
to say
this
her
is
name.
like from the 80s.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's an older film, but it's timeless in my opinion.
Put it on my list.
I know.
Yes, highly recommend it. Everyone should watch it. I have a copy if you need to borrow it.
VHS and DVD.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
We actually found some VHS tapes in a lab the other day. I'm like, what do you do with these?
All right. So finally, what advice would you give your 18-year-old self about your future?
Marry rich and don't sign a prenup. No?
Might be the most honest answer we've had.
Yeah, I think that
Love it.
Start out season 2 with a bang.
Yeah.
No, I would say just be patient with myself and enjoy the journey. Enjoy the highs with family and friends and get through the lows, breathe through them because they'll go away. Yeah, just enjoy
great
the journey.
advice.
That's what I'm trying to
I
do.
love that.
Yeah, the patience part I think is really important for our students because they're such an instant gratification generation.
Yeah, and I get it.
It's
I mean,
hard.
I felt that when I was young. It was
Yeah,
like
me
it all had to be
too.
done immediately, go, and it'll get there, you know, just take your time, go slow. My best piece of advice on a side note, I bought an RV a few years back and I'd driven it around the neighborhood. I'd driven it to Carolina Beach and back, and I was driving up to New England for the summer, and someone was supposed to go with me. They had to cancel, so I was going by myself with 3 dogs and a cat, never driven that far in an RV. And my cousin just looked at me, she's like, slow and steady. Yeah. Just go slow and steady. It's the best advice. I try to take that for every part of life now.
Yeah.
When I start getting overwhelmed, slow it down, just keep the course.
Yeah. And you're going to make mistakes.
You'll get there. You'll get
part
there.
of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you got to have the lows to go with the highs, right?
Totally.
The lows make the highs all that much better.
Well, Donna, the last thing we're going to have you do is say your name, your last name, the way that you and your family would say it.
Okay. So in Italy, it's Yuguccione, but we just say Yuguccione. So.
All right. Mystery
solved, right?
Yeah.
My students will be happy because when they come in my class, I'm like, I'm that name that when you signed up, you're like, that's that last name. I don't have any idea what it is. I tell them if they can say my last name, they're already ahead of the game with A and P because it's based in Greek and Latin, and my name's Italian. So I'm like, there you go.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for coming in today. Thank you for all your contributions here at Cape Fear.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah,
it's
great.
fun.
It's great to learn more about you, too.
Thanks. Thanks.
Once again, to fill us in on our upcoming academic and cultural events, we have CFCC Student Life Coordinator, our head women's basketball coach, and host of her own podcast, For Your Ears Only, the one, the only, Taylor Todd Williams.
I'm so happy to be back.
T-Todd, you are in the house, man.
Yeah.
You're in the freezing cold studio house.
I know. Well, it was cooler this morning, too, so happy fall. I'm feeling it. Monday, September 16th, classes begin for the 12-week session. Kaya, Come As You Are with Counseling. This 9-week library series will include a wellness topic 1 week, an academic topic the second week, and then a calming craft to top it off, then repeat. Snacks provided each week from 1 to 2 p.m. in L201. Tuesday, September 17th, UNC Pembroke transfer admissions visit will be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on the Union Station first floor lobby. Ending the Silence, presentation by Wilmington NAMI in partnership with CFCC's Counseling Center. Learn about the warning signs of mental health conditions and what steps to take if you or a loved one are showing symptoms of mental health conditions. This will take place from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. in U170. Wednesday, September 18th, UNCW transfer team visit from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the Union Station upper lobby. Do not stress, just do your best. Have a donut and pick up some stress relief tips to start out the semester from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. in the Union Station lobby. Student club meetings. Anthropology Club meets at 1 p.m. in A316. Beats Lab Club will meet from 3:30 to 5 p.m. in WA 2010. Pride Club will meet from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Please contact cfcc.pride@cfcc.edu for more information. Thursday, September 19th, have a donut and pick up some stress relief tips to start out the semester from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. in the McKeithen Center lobby. Friday, September 20th, Philosophy Club meeting from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. in U296. Monday, September 23rd, STEM Film Series, Women in Motion at 2 p.m. in N202. Wednesday, September 25th, It's Real is a presentation by the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention in partnership with the CFCC Counseling from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Contact Student Accessibility Services for the link. Student club meetings. Anthropology Club will meet at 1 p.m. in A316. Beats Lab Club will meet from 3:30 p.m. to 5 p.m. in WA 2010. Pride Club will meet at 4 p.m. Contact cfcc.pride@cfcc.edu for more information. Friday, September 26th, Philosophy Club meeting from 2 to 3 p.m. in U296.
Wow, T-Todd, that is a mouthful of academic and cultural.
Happy September. Hello, September. You've made an entrance for yourself.
September, we are here. It's funny, the past couple weeks, it has been pretty slow on that calendar, but we are ramping up. I love it.
We're picking it up.
Woo!
I'm excited.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
I know there are some dates and deadlines always lingering out there for university transfer, and we have Mitchell White on board to fill you in.
Here are the events from September 15th to September 30th. Monday, September 16th, classes begin for 12-week session. Tuesday, September 17th, last day to add classes or do add drop classes on the 12-week classes. Monday, September 23rd, last day to drop classes for 75% on most classes for the 12-week classes. Monday, September 30th, last day to withdraw from classes on the first mini classes. That is all.
Well, we did it, Brandon. We actually made it through our interview with Donna. I'm so proud of us.
Yeah, it was great. I really love learning more about her.
It was beyond great, Brandon. We need to get a little bit more energy from you on this side if you're
okay.
going to
Yeah,
be in
yeah,
the seat
yeah.
anymore.
Woo!
We might
All
lose
right.
some people as we go. We were trying to think about things to talk about that are coming up in September, and Mitchell, our sound engineer and editing guru, did bring up the fact that they're about to start shooting another show here called The Waterfront. And The Waterfront's a story about a family and their fishing business that is inspired by true events, and it's filming here in Wilmington. It's by the same people who helped create Dawson's Creek. And this is near and dear to your heart, fishing on the waterfront,
It is.
isn't
I
it?
grew up in a fishing village.
I know. Look
Yeah.
at you. We've already got some viewers here, so this is exciting. And we just had our little bit of a cold snap, so we're feeling the fall.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what comes in the fall? Tell me.
I don't know. What does come in the fall? Pumpkin spice, everything nice?
Hurricanes will officially maybe be over after this month or so.
Yep. We may have skirted through this one.
Everything autumnal, mums, things like that. So it's going to be awesome.
Baker's Market. I saw they had them out.
You know, after this one drops, we'll probably be canceled. Season 2, episode 1 is the last episode of Sea Devil Sessions. But until next time, what do we always say? You don't know. We say go to class on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Go to class. Sea Devil Sessions University Transfer Edition is brought to you by CFCC's Community Relations Department. Original theme music by Nicholas Montalbano and Fermin Chavez Ramos. Audio engineering and editing by Mitchell White. For questions or comments, please contact us at seadevilsessions@cfcc.edu.